Hi everyone, today in this video we'll learn how to create interface with user in ABAP program. There are multiple ways to create interface for user, but in this session we'll learn how to create classic selection screen in ABAP program. The selection screen is normally generated from select options and parameter statement in the report and logical database access routine. The selection screen allows you to form blocks, combine several parameters, and comment together on one line. We can also generate push button on the screen, or we can activate them in the application toolbar as well as insert blank lines, underscore lines, and comments. Like select options and parameters, you can also use selection screen statement in the reports. We'll discuss all these options in a step-by-step procedure. Now, the basic keywords of classical selection programming are like parameter, selection screen, select options, and block. Parameter. What parameter does is it gets the input for a single variable that is provided for the parameter from the user. Selection screen. It defines a screen in the output after we press execute. Select options. It gets a range of data from the user, whereas in parameter we get only one value, single value. Either it can be a character or numerical, whatever. But in this select options, we need to give a range, like 1 to 10, etc. Block. It is used to organize the different input items on the screen. Like there are 4-5 parameters and 4-5 selection screen. We want to put all the parameters together and all the select options together. Then we make use of this block. All the parameters are in one block, and we can make all the selection screen in one block, like frames or titles. Okay. Okay. Now. Yeah, we'll explain all of this in more together in this section. Let us begin with parameters. We need to use parameters keyword itself. Itself is a keyword to display parameter in the selection screen. The parameter keyword will take a single input from a user and save the input in the parameter variable. The point to be noted in the parameter is the variable which we took must be 8 characters in length or less. It shouldn't exceed more than 8. Now we'll create an executable report in SC38 and try to implement the parameter statement in it and see output over there. To create a report, we need to go to SC38 transaction, that is ABAP editor. I've already created a program naming Z test you can check my previous videos to how to create a report. Okay, here the parameter is keyword itself, so p underscore name 1 will be our parameter variable, and its type can be anything like int, char, string. Here I'm gonna go with a string. Now we'll check whether it's this variable can display or not. Save, check, RS, activate, and then exit. See, here we can write anything. This is what a parameter looks like in the selection screen. We have some parameter options for the parameter variable that we can use, like obligatory, default, checkbox, radio button, drop down box. Now we'll see what all these options how we can use with the parameter statement. The first one is obligatory. Obligatory itself is a keyword. Okay, when we use this obligatory keyword, it is used when user cannot execute the program until a value is entered. Like mandatory, we can make this variable as until and unless the user use a value in this variable in the parameter, he can't go to the next screen. Let us see how we can achieve it. Okay, parameters p underscore name 2 will be my variable type string, and obligatory is the keyword. It needs to be filled at the end. Now we'll check, save, check, no errors. We need to activate it and then execute. See this value. Now we'll enter something here, SAP ABAP, and we don't enter anything here, and then press enter. See, we can see a message, error message, that fill all required entry variables. Until and unless we give some value here, it doesn't go to the next screen. So enter something, SAP, and then click on enter. See, now we can't see this error message. That is why we use obligatory. And the next option is default. Why we use default? Default keyword is used when we try to set a default value for the parameter. Parameters can also be given a default value by adding default keyword. Okay. For these variables, we have seen empty parameter in the selection screen. By using this default and giving a value, we can see the same value in the selection screen. Okay, let us see this. P underscore name 3 type string default, and we need to enter a value, and the value must always needs to be entered in the quotes. It can be in lowercase or in uppercase. The numeric value also needs to be entered in the quotes. Okay. Just save it. Check. Activate. Then execute. See, the value we have entered is populated here. Okay, the next option is checkbox. As checkbox is a keyword. This keyword is used when parameter needs to be set as a checkbox. It will return ABAP true or ABAP false when selected or when not selected. See, when the checkbox we define is selected, the system will give ABAP true, and it's when it's not selected and then executed, it returns ABAP false value. Okay. Now we'll show how the parameter checkbox works. Parameters p underscore name 4 type string as it doesn't need set. Checkbox is a single value, so we are not going to give any type, just variable as checkbox. Okay, that's it. Save it. check it, activate it, then execute. See, we can see a checkbox. Same as giving default values, we can also make this p underscore name for as checked by default. We can make use of the default statement here and make it as a flag. Then the checkbox will be automatically checked in the selection screen. Parameters p underscore name 5 as checkbox default, the value in quotes. What's the value? It's X, that is, it means flagged. By this we can see this p underscore name 5 variable checked in the selection screen. Check it, activate it, execute it. See, it got checked automatically. And the next parameter is radio button group. Group this keyword. Why we use this keyword? It is used when we want the parameter to work like a checkbox, but only one parameter needs to be selected within a defined group. Okay, this radio button group, I'll tell you a real-time scenario. For example, if there is a multiple choice question and there are 4 options, but we need to select only one option. The user can't select 2 options. Then we can make use of this radio button. Okay, these radio buttons are used. When the radio buttons are used, only one radio button per group can be selected at a time. But it's possible for the user to click execute on the button selected without any radio button selected. For this reason, you want to set one button as selected by default. To do so, we need to write this code. Okay, parameters p underscore, since it's a radio button, as per the naming convention, it needs to start with RB. Variable name needs to be start with RB. Okay, name 1 radio button group. We need to mention the group ID, which is identifier, so that ID is the identifier of a group. The variables which are given the identifier as ID will be taken as another group. ID can be anything like ID1, ID2, whatever as per your wish. The first I'm making it as default X. Okay, I'm gonna take multiple variables, so I'm giving this column. RB underscore name to radio button group ID. This is my second value. RB underscore name 3 radio button group ID, comma RB underscore name 4 radio button group ID dot. See, in the ID group I have four options: RB name 1, RB name 2, RB name 3, RB name 4. I'm making RB name 1 as default. Whenever I can remove it, I can select RB name 3 also. So we'll check how this works. Save it, check it, activate it, and then execute it. See, RP name 1 is what default, checked as default. I want to move this, I want to select this, then it will disappear. See, it's unselected and it's selected. I want to select this one, name 4. When I select this, it will be unselected. Since we made all these 4, name 1, RP name 1, RP name 2, RP name 3, RP name 4 as one group by giving an ID, identifier as ID. Okay. We also have another option as list visible length, and this keyword is used to make the drop down for the parameter. We'll see how that works in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.